All right. Again, my name is Tom, and I'm an alcoholic. And that is such a treat to see somebody, Gary, taking, what was that, 47 years?
Yeah, 7
years. They were taking no jive in 75 here. That's incredible. So it is I remember that. I was in junior high school. So I want to thank Louie for inviting me to come over here and hang out with you guys, and respect for the name Sicker Than Most. I feel at home among my guys because I have heard a few fifth steps and I realize I am sicker than most. Some of these guys were angels. But anyway, I think it's fine to be sicker than most because we can get better than better, right? If we do what we're supposed to do here. So it's an honor and privilege to speak or lead any meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous because it keeps me sober. And hearing you guys take those chips and an incredible birthday, it is all for me in my batting average, keeping my sobriety date. So thank you so much. So I don't have I got too much to say in 15 to 20 minutes, so let me just get the important stuff out right now in case I forget this. This is a terrible experience. You sit down after speaking and you go, oh, I forgot to tell them I have a higher power, or something like that. So here's the important things. I have a higher power. That's one thing. It's not the same as I had in my mind when I came in here. I thought I understood God. I was raised that way. But it was God in my pocket, like wasn't with me on a date or when I'm manipulating somebody or conning somebody out of, things that I want for me. But, in a 911 situation, I would take them out of my pocket. I've switched that around now. I'd rather be something in God's pocket that he could take out and say, I got this guy in Arcadia that is in a situation, so who do I got in Arcadia? I got Tom. I'll send him over there. That's the way I'd rather do that. I have a sponsor. My sponsor's name is Michael W. He's got a mid-70s sobriety date too, and he's an amazing person, and I'm very impressed with him. But that relationship with a sponsor is, I think of it like I've licensed him to have meaning to me. So I'm talking to Michael literally last week, and I'm saying something about these things I'm freaked out about. And he goes, well, that's why it's just one day at a time, Tom. Now, I've been sober for 3 decades, so I've heard one day at a time thousands of times, But because Michael says it to me in that context at that time, it means something to me. And that's what I want to be to the guys I sponsor, and that's what a sponsor is. I got a home group. My home group is the San Marino Men's Stag. On Thursday night, tomorrow night. A lot of you guys know that. A lot of you guys come from here, and I'm glad you keep most of our guys in the back there. But that's 8:30 in Virginia and Huntington. It's an old meeting, goes back to the 70s at that church, and before that, maybe the 50s or 60s. We know that Bill W. himself went to that meeting when he came to Los Angeles, and because of that, we kind of protect that format. And anyway, it's real cool. You guys are really cool too. I got guys I sponsor, and I've worked the 12 steps. That's another thing I got to tell you. And when I say I've worked them, I haven't taken them. I don't know how you take the steps. Maybe you just look at them on the wall at a meeting and go, yeah. That's what I thought I was doing at the first. And I've gone to 12-step meetings, and maybe people that share those things are thinking that they've taken the steps, but I'm telling you that I've worked the steps with a sponsor. The first guy I did that with was sitting back there, Jonathan, who read our chapter 3 or 5 there, and he said, no, you're not listening to what it says here, Tom. He contradicted and straightened me out, and so I needed another person to help me work through those steps. I've got a sobriety date. My sobriety date is July 14th, 1991. And that is It's a date. I like to keep track of it. It doesn't mean anything. If you have gotten up this morning and haven't had a drink, then you and I are tied for first place, as far as I'm concerned. Because time takes time, and I respect time, but time itself is not a tool. Cannot use my sobriety time to do anything to keep me sober. I can use my experience, so maybe it's a tool belt. So that's that. So what else do I have? Got a higher power, got a home group, sponsor, got a sobriety date. Anyway, that's the basics. Now let me take you, you ready to clap? Yeah, let me take you into my alcoholic mind for a minute. So I'm driving down a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair. No, that's somebody else's story. I'm in the Antelope Valley, deep in the Antelope Valley in 1982, and I'm driving my 71 Volkswagen Beetle, following a handwritten map to my unofficial high school graduation party. And I'm already just thinking, I don't want to go here, because I hate to admit this to a bunch of guys, but I'm a very sensitive guy. And we may have that in common, I was never the best athlete, the smartest guy. I was never the most of anything when I was a kid growing up. But I think now, I might have been the most sensitive fucking guy. So anyway, I'm thinking, I kind of don't want to go to this awkward social thing. But I'm on this dirt road, and I'm thinking about turning around, and I go over this hill, and I see this bonfire and hundreds of cars, and I'm like, I'm not going to go to this. But I've got a recognizable little bug there, and I don't want to hear from somebody that they saw me turning around. So I go up and I park, and I walk through these hundreds of people I don't know really, and there's a bonfire there, and next there's a red cup in my hand, and there's a keg, and let's just cut it right there and come back in 5 minutes, and you would see me throwing my head back in laughter with my new friends or friends I've found, and I'm completely comfortable. I'm having a blast, and I'm staying later than most people, and I'm driving the 40 miles back to where my folks and I lived in a very drunken state as a beginning of many drunk driving adventures. I tell that story because it's not what alcohol does to me, but it's what it does for me. Alcohol changes the way I see things, changes the way I feel. I'm not judged by people. I'm not worried about what they think of me or whether I'm going to be funny or awkward. I'm myself. I'm comfortable. I can talk to girls. I'm funny, I think. It helps me a lot. And I thank God it was there for me when it was. I survived it. That's why I'm here. But that sensitivity, I just didn't, inside myself, I didn't feel like I was enough, ever. I really thought I needed to impress you. I realize now you say things like, treat me special and I feel normal. And treat me normal and I feel rejected. That's me. How long have I got? Right? Okay, good. All right. So I took it to the point where I decided to leave college and I joined the U.S. Coast Guard because I thought that was pretty cool. And I didn't know anyone else that did that. And I got to do some really cool things. I got to represent the whole U.S. Coast Guard on Memorial Day, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier holding the flag of the Coast Guard. And wearing white gloves and all this stuff. And this guy told me, don't you fucking move, no matter what. Don't scratch your face, any of this stuff. I was there, jets fly by, there's this flame in front of me. I never moved. And I thought that was just so great. And then I go to my first actual station after being trained and all this stuff. And those guys said, like, you don't have any grease on your uniform. Your fingernails are clean. What's wrong with you? That they weren't impressed with that at all. So I had to realize I had to be a man like they were, and I tried so hard and I wanted to do everything. My first rescue I ever went on, this guy said, there's a boat out there, Tom, Amastoy, he called me Amastoy, and they're in a lot of trouble. And it's a dark, stormy night, and we might die trying to get to them. But if we don't go out there, they're definitely going to die. So what do you think we should do? And I said, well, let's go. It was the beginning of this cool thing. But I remember thinking, even if I die, my funeral is going to be so cool because I died this way. I mean, this was he's still looking at me when I'm thinking that I'm okay with dying if it means you think that I'm okay. And I did a lot of stuff in those years, doing that stuff, going on and burning boats and incredible stuff, because I wanted you to think I'm okay. I wasted so much time with this kind of thinking. I thought that we'd be friends if I was interesting. I realize now that it's about being interested, not interesting, that brings relationships together. If you guys didn't know you were going to get the secrets of relationships tonight, there it is. Curiosity in her is a great strategy, by the way. Telling her how great you are, not so much. Anyway, so I go back to college. I find this thing called a fraternity. It becomes the thing I'm majoring in. Really, these are my guys, these are my people. I remember one evening when I said, we've got to go to, it's 1:45, they're going to stop selling beer down at 7-Eleven. We got to go right now. And this drunken fraternity brother of mine said, Tom, do you really need to feel more drunk than you are right now? And I went, I never even thought about that. It is an interesting question, but we could talk about it another time because we only have 15 minutes to go down there. So, I'll get sober here. I've been in hospitals for this. I went through a plate glass window in a fight. Ended up being too drunk for anesthesia, and it was okay. I cracked them up, as far as I remember, all through the surgery. Been in police cars, been pulled over for drunk driving 3 times. I did well on the field sobriety test. I never got arrested. The last time the cop actually knew a guy that I knew in the Coast Guard Reserve, and he followed me home. But I was getting a little bit of extra white privilege from being somewhat of a cop at the time, and he didn't do me any favors. He didn't save my life. He didn't save the life of anybody else that night. But I found myself, knowing 2 things when I went to my first AA meeting. I knew my life was unsuccessful. It was a house of cards that was beginning to fall down, and I knew that I drank more than everybody I knew. And I didn't think these things were related. It turns out that I was right, that my problem was not alcohol. You guys told me that eventually. I thought that my problem was alcohol. Drinking is one of the things I did best, so I didn't think that was the problem. Turns out my problem is alcoholism. My problem is life on life's terms. And I got tricked to my first AA meeting. Chuck, who's not here tonight, was leading that meeting. I did not know I was going to an AA meeting. My friend said, I got to get something out of here, come in here, and it was just starting, and I'm like, oh, what is this? And so anyway, it didn't work. I didn't get sober, but I knew what AA was like, and it was an okay meeting format. I could walk into one of these things, and I did probably within that year. And this guy at the coffee break said to me, so you think you might be an alcoholic, huh? I said, I don't know. I kind of think I just got to get my shit together. And he said, well, you know what happens when you get your shit together? And I'm like, oh, what is this? He says, you got a big pile of shit. What we do here is we get rid of our shit. We don't get our shit together. And I thought that was kind of intriguing. And soon after that, I found my tribe of people again. I was 27, so there wasn't a lot of people in 91 that were under 30. But there was a few of us, and they said, hey, we're going to this meeting tomorrow night. It's at this time. Why don't you meet us there? I showed up. There's no one there but them, because we're setting up the chairs. And then we're cleaning ashtrays. We used to have ashtrays at meetings. And we're going out for pie and coffee, and we're doing the same thing every night. And this group swept me into the center of the herd, and that saved my life. And these people were saying things like, "Would you have a sponsor yet?" Man, I got to tell you, if I hadn't met those people, I could have just sat in the back and said, "I'm going to just do this for a little while until I figure it out." But I thought, I got to get them to like me. It's a sensitivity working for me. So I get a sponsor, and then a couple months later, I was sharing in a meeting, and Jonathan back there comes up to me, the coffee break, and he says, "You're full of shit, right?" I go, "What's that?" He said, "I know you're full of shit because I'm full of shit the same way you are." And I knew that guy needed to be my sponsor because he could see right through me. So I did what was told, and I met a girl. She had less than 30 days. It's not supposed to be dating her. I had about a year. I told Jonathan, "What do I do?" He said, "She's kind of cute. Somebody's going to go out with her. Might as well be you." And we've been married for like 28 years or something like that now. So I got 3 kids. And none of these people have ever seen me drink. I have a stepson also, and a daughter-in-law and a grandson, and it's precious to me. But I'll tell you this, that some of the most difficult things, most of my life has been in AA, in sobriety. 27 years before AA, 30 and a half years since AA. So more things have happened to me in sobriety than they happened to me in drinking. And I misunderstood the way people spoke at the podium. I thought they were saying, this is what it sounded like to me. "I got sober, I got a great job, I married a cheerleader, we're super happy, and I've got houses and money, and everything's great now." It kind of sounded like that to me. What they were actually saying is gratitude. They were speaking about gratitude, but it sounded like everything goes good after you get sober. And we want you to stick around if you're new. But it is the worst things that have ever happened in my life happened to me in sobriety. One of those things is 2007. I got diagnosed with stage 4 rectal cancer. Stage 4. It's not a good thing. And I talked to. I process externally, so I told everyone about this. And I was speaking at meetings, and people came up to me and said, "It's going to be okay. I'm a cancer survivor too," and all this stuff. And I thank God for the medical treatment I had. But let me tell you what that's like. That's chemo, radiation, surgery, and 4 more months of chemo. And I'm sure you guys know, some of you may have directly known, this sucks, really sucks. And what it gave me a unique perspective on is that I got to compare these 2 fatal diseases I had at the same time. So I have an acute disease happening right now called cancer. Looks like it's going to take me out. And I've got a chronic disease, which is fatal as well, called alcoholism. And the difference I perceive after this is how I can't see them both clearly. I saw cancer clearly. The chemo I got, which was in a clinical trial, was $20,000 every 2 weeks. My insurance, had great insurance, thank God. But I was never late for a chemo appointment, and it sucks. I never missed a single radiation appointment. I was early for these things that felt horrible and cost money. And AA feels wonderful, and it's $1 or $2 if I want to put it in the basket. And yet I still can't decide sometimes. Alcoholic death, sober life, I don't know. I went to a lot of meetings earlier this week. Maybe I don't need to go to another one. Had a busy day at work. Not sure I want to do this. I've been, I need to catch up on the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel or something on TV, and it's great. And maybe I won't go to a meeting tonight. And I can't see this thing clearly. Yeah, it's a new season. It's great. And it's amazing because alcoholism, part of this disease, is that it's a hidden thing from me. My perception is incorrect on alcoholism. And I need contrary thinking. I need to hear you tell me about you. When you tell me about me, I'm not listening. But you have this incredible power called the language of the heart. And I can't believe it. It's unbelievable how much power this is. If you actually try to change somebody's point of view or their decisions and opinions, I don't know if you've ever looked at that. It's really hard to go through this, like a maze, to change somebody's mind when they're set. Grown-up guys like us, we don't change our mind. But when you tell me about you, I take a journey in the air over that maze, and I go with you in your story, and I'm thinking and feeling different at the end of that. It's actually called a heuristic. It's a name to that. That's what we do when we tell our story, when we say what it was like, what happened, what it's like now. We don't have to go through that maze and see differently. And I thank God for going to meetings and shutting up long enough to hear you talk, and having the privilege to come to meetings like this and give my story, and to hear it again and realize what's happening. And I'm very grateful to get a chance to do that tonight and to be with you. And thanks for having me.